It's important for the person listening to know what is the purpose of your money.
Yeah.
If it's for you to spend in your lifetime, that's one specific plan.
Yep.
If it's you to leave it to somebody else, that's a different specific plan. If it's you, like most folks go, I don't know, I want plenty if I'm alive, but I want to be able to leave something for my kids, there's a blended plan. So yes, depending on what you want those dollars to do will depend on the tool that we recommend to you to use.
Sure.
We've been doing this for 20 years and serving hundreds of families. We're going to bring solutions to your situation.
How do you choose a financial advisor? How do you know who you should
That's
work
the
with?
value of that 210 core, moving everything towards a purpose on purpose.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Your Retirement Blueprint podcast. My name's Kendall Stahl, alongside my co-host, Mr. Phil Cooper. How are you?
Good. Well, welcome, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Good deal. Well, you were gone. You weren't able to attend. I know it broke your heart to do so.
You have no idea how much it broke my heart.
You got videos, though.
Yeah.
We talked about the state fair last week. This week, we took Kai, my son, 4 years old, and your grandson. We took him to the Pee Wee show. We showed some pigs for the first time.
What's it take to be in the Pee Wee show? Is it an age-specific thing?
Yep. So the actual show at State Fair is I don't know if it's 8 or 10. I think it used to always be 10 to 18. And I think they changed it from that to 8 to 21.
So anybody under 8 years old,
anybody under 8 or
is in
10,
the
whatever it
Pee Wee
is,
show.
can go show at the Pee Wee show. So
Okay.
you got kids that are 8 or 10 and pretty well know what they're doing, and you got kids that are, well, there was one girl literally there that was 2.5,
Wow.
maybe.
Brave little girl.
I don't know if it went real well, but
Yeah.
and then basically instead of giving out, ribbons and money or whatever, they give out, Nerf guns and scooters and
Cool stuff.
bubble gum machines. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Is
have
that
a
where
talk.
Kai got the bubblegum machine?
Well, I'm gonna have a talk with your wife, okay? Because
Uh-oh.
you know me, I'm all about we got to work for it and earn it, right?
Grandma may have a different opinion.
Well, yeah, Grandma probably. So Kai's showing pigs there. He's checked out all the prizes beforehand. Got a bubblegum machine, little foot tall thing. Put a quarter, whatever. And he's bound to determine he's going to get that bubblegum machine. But you got to do pretty good to get the bubblegum machine. And this is just trial run, so we didn't put a lot of time and effort in. We just borrowed some pigs and went. And we didn't win the bubblegum machine. Well, the bubblegum machine showed up at the office the other day.
Granny took care of the business. Had a way.
So I kind of got his bubblegum
Way to go,
machine
Grandma.
either way,
High five
which
to Grandma.
I know you agree with.
All about it.
I kept my mouth shut. I
I
let
would
him
have
get
bought
his
him two if I
bubblegum
was
machine.
home. I think Grandma was weak on that one.
Anyways, we survived the Pee Wee show.
Yeah.
Now our next obstacle is those pigs are going to have to go. So we're going to have to, work through that little life lesson, but it'll be all right.
Gilbert and Biscuit are the
Yep.
are the two pigs' names.
And Chuckles.
Chuckles. I didn't know
Yeah.
about Chuckles.
Well, we borrowed one. Yeah, you didn't know about that, I
I
guess.
didn't know about. So how old does Cash have to be before he starts showing?
Yeah, apparently two.
A couple years old.
We'll probably wait a little bit.
You're all invited next year to the Pee Wee show down at
Yeah.
the State Fair to watch my grandsons.
There was 200 kids.
Wow.
No,
That's awesome.
that's not right. 200 pigs.
200, well, probably a couple
Probably,
hundred kids, yeah.
I don't know, 150 kids or something like that.
Oh, very good.
Anyways, this week's show is all about retirement taxes and income. Okay. So
Yep.
big thing right off the top, Social Security Administration. Social Security is usually adjusted for inflation one way or the other.
Right, yeah.
And all the talk is, hey, inflation's high.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Are we going to get a big jump on Social Security or not?
Yeah.
So it appears like we're going to be getting,
You and I aren't getting anything.
I'm not collecting anything
We get the
yet.
privilege of paying in still.
Yeah. Close to 10% is what they're talking.
That's what I hear. Last year, 2021, it was 8%, I think.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now they're talking about a potential, let's see where the year ends with inflation. They're talking about a potential another 10% raise.
Says on average 2023, or not on, well, yeah, on average. The average check, $160. It's going to go up 2023 due to
Yeah.
inflation.
Yeah, good.
So all you retirees out there collecting Social Security might be getting a raise. But, that might get taken away from you in Medicare, however people have differing opinions on that, I suppose.
Well, last year they raised our Social Security payments 8%, and they raised Medicare 14%. So they took it back. They took part of that back, yeah.
Interesting how that works. How much should someone rely on Social Security when it comes to retirement income planning?
In a perfect world, none. That's
true.
a perfect world, but that's not the world we're living in because we have been trained as a society that Social Security, which is securing the society, is what that means, with basic income is going to be there for. So many people have planned on that as being part of their income plan. In a perfect world, we wish people wouldn't plan for it, but that's not the way it is. So what?
Well, it needs to be what you just said, basic income.
It is. That's your needs. That's your food.
Yeah.
Your clothing.
And too many people out there rely on it for all.
That's it. Income. And there's a lot of folks. That's all they have. Yeah.
There's what is it on the statement? So if you're not collecting Social Security yet, if you can print your statement out at ssa.gov, or sometimes they mail it to you or whatever. And if you look on there, it's going to give you essentially three different dollar figures. 62, here's how much you can expect to get every month. For retirement age, here's how much you expect to get every month. And then at 70, here's how much you get to expect every month. And then if you look down below it, or maybe did they take that off now? I think. Anyways, used to be last year anyways.
2030.
Yeah. It says down there below that, somewhere about halfway down the page, by 2035, Social Security Administration is only going to have enough to pay out 80%.
It was 71%. But
okay.
Back to what you were stating, they took that off, but they didn't change the rules. So what that means is they used to say by the year 2035, they can only pay us 70 to 72% of what they were planning on paying us.
Right.
And then because of COVID, they took that 2035 and they shrunk it to 2033.
Yeah.
So it's saying by the year 2033, but you think of that, we're not that far away. Whatever you're getting on Social Security is going to be reduced unless the law changes. They're going to reduce that down because there's no money left. At the same time, they're handing out raises.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Something's going to change.
Yeah. If it does, I just don't think this is Kendall's opinion, so take it for what it's worth. I don't think there's any politician that's going to stand up there and do it. They're going to get it some other way, though.
They will. You're a one-term politician if you're going to do that because you're going to cause an income calamity.
Yeah. So many people literally rely on Social Security 100%.
I agree with
live
that.
on that. If that actually happened, it'd be a disaster.
You're right. They may not change Social Security, but what's going to change is something else down the road. They're going to reclaim those dollars someplace.
Well, that seems like a good parlay in today's topic.
Welcome to the show. Welcome
to the show. We're going to talk about taxes today. So, couple different things on taxes. We talk about taxes probably more than what people want us to, but today I want to talk about existing opportunities to save taxes before tax rates go up.
Okay.
So, at least as of right now, taxes are on sale. They're about as low as they've ever been. I keep saying this, and I need to get it done, but I saw an advisor make a whiteboard, like a poster board, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And he had a graph of the tax rates throughout history.
Year
over year. And I always say we're in some of the lowest tax environment. We really are.
Yeah.
And if you look at the graph, it's like kind of major.
It's ridiculous. Like when President Reagan was our president,
right?
The highest tax bracket in the country. This is hard for people to even fathom. It was 94%.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that was certain income levels. Can you imagine that? Every dollar you make, 94% went to the government.
Yeah.
Well, today,
why would you work?
Well, Ronald Reagan was a movie star.
Yeah.
And he said if he made over $2 million a year, that's when they hit him at 94%. So he made sure his movies stopped at $2 million a year of income. And otherwise, he was paying the government. So right now, like, for example, there's a lot of people we see that are under double digits per year.
Yeah.
In the percentage they're paying to the government. This is low, folks. This is ridiculous. This is history in the making. You'll look back on these days with tax in the tax environment and go, those were the good old days.
Yep.
And it's going to change.
All right. Taxable retirement income that's taxable. Okay. So any money taken out of 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, the list goes on. TSP, if you're self-employed, SEP IRAs, whatever. Okay. That's all going to be taxed whenever you poke a hole in those and start taking money out.
Correct.
Okay. Federally.
Correct.
And it depends on the state whether or not they're going to tax.
That's correct. And Illinois currently does not tax those things. They do not tax your 401k IRAs, but other states do.
Yep. Okay. And then a couple rules there. You have to start taking money out at 72 whether you want to or not. So if you're someone that, say, has worked at some company, your baby boomer generation, mid-60s, whatever, and you got strong pension, strong Social Security, you got all this money saved in an IRA or 401k, whatever, and you don't really need those dollars. You're not taking any money out because if you do, it's going to raise you up in tax brackets. you're going to have to once you turn 72, whether you want to or not.
That's correct. That's correct. So the goal there would be to try to get those dollars out of taxable buckets between now and age 72 if possible.
Yep. So we're going to come back to that in a minute. All right. Social Security is taxable to a certain point,
Yeah.
right? So they can tax up to, they being the IRS, can tax up to
85%.
85% of your Social Security.
Now, clarify that. I heard said this the other day to somebody, and they about fell out of their chair.
Yeah, like what?
They heard me say they can pay up to 85% in taxes on their Social Security. That's not what that says. Up to 85% of your Social Security can be taxed. Doesn't mean they're going to tax you at 85%.
So if you got $10,000 Social Security, they can only take $8,500
of it can be taxed.
Can be taxed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you know this off the top of your head? Married filing jointly, you got to get to $32,000 of income before they tax it, or is that the level it goes to 85%?
That's when it hits 85%. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah. So they can tax you up to that number, different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So Social Security is taxable. Obviously, pensions are going to be taxable. Money coming out of annuities can be taxable, even if it's not an IRA sometimes. Capital gains is a big one. You know, those I think hit a lot of the different types of retirement income that's taxed. And so let's talk about opportunities. So we were opening the can there on, turning 72 and having to take money out. So I want to spend some time on that for a minute. So imagine with me, you're mid 60s, you retired from somewhere, you got strong pension, you've got strong Social Security, you got $1 million or 500 grand or 100 grand, whatever, in an IRA or 401k, and you don't need that money. So you're like, in my head, I'm not taking that money out because I don't want to pay taxes on it right now, because nobody likes to pay taxes, right?
Yep.
That group of people has got to be planning for what happens at 72, right?
Agreed.
Because at 72, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, your freedoms are gone. I should say your freedoms in that way, but I mean your options are gone.
Yeah.
It is now a forced withdrawal.
Yep. And if you're in your mid 60s, you got 8 to 10 years for that $1 million or whatever's in that account to grow more.
Yeah.
Which makes the problem even
You're compounding.
worse.
So back to your example, say somebody's got $1 million, and if you don't have $1 million, don't tune me out. Just listen to this. Is if you got 100,000, it's the same
Works
thing.
the same way, yeah.
You got $1 million
Or
laying
10
in
million.
your right. Exactly. It doesn't matter the dollar figure. It's the same concept. You got $1 million laying in your IRA or 401k bucket, right? Mm-hmm. And today we know we've got the lowest tax environment ever. Should we be pulling those dollars out and paying tax on them and now get them over to a tax-free bucket? And we believe the answer is yes, because we also have the compounding effect of money over time. Yep. So that $1 million over the next decade, maybe you've had a great decade and now it's worth $2 million. And you're like, jackpot. Well, you used to owe $1 million or taxes on $1 million. Guess what? You now owe taxes on $2 million.
Yeah. The IRS is your partner. You owe the IRS no matter what. So maybe it makes sense to pay the IRS sooner.
Absolutely.
Which could mean a lot less taxes over your lifetime potentially.
Well, what if you got that $1 million out over a course of a few years and now it lays in a Roth IRA?
Yeah.
And it's worth $1 million over there now over time. And maybe over time now it's worth $2 million. How much of that $2 million in that Roth is yours? All of it.
All of it.
100% of it.
Yeah.
What if you
And
die? Your kids, all of it. They don't have to pay tax on it.
Exactly.
It's free.
So that's one of the biggest opportunities right now because of what we talked about at the beginning of the show is taxes are as low as they've ever been. I don't have my poster board.
Yeah.
But if you saw that graph,
It's astounding.
it might
really
make
is.
sense to pay some taxes now. And the reasons for that are make sure you know what's going to happen at 72. Okay. We're not CPAs or, tax advisors. So you need to talk to your CPA or the person that does your taxes. But what you need to think about, and this is not a bash on them, but most tax preparers are saying, how do we reduce taxes for today, for this year?
Yeah, they look backwards.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
right.
you need to be thinking about what's going to happen going forward.
Kendall, we very rarely talk about this, but what if you have a married couple
Yeah.
and their income is Social Security and pension and money they're taking from their IRAs and they're filing a joint tax return? They know every year we're either going to pay this much or get this much back, and then one of them passes away.
Yep.
Now everything just drops to a single filing rate. That remaining spouse could have a major tax burden on their hands.
Yeah, could be.
Get those dollars out of their IRA today while they're still both alive and well and have time ahead of them.
So you need to have a plan. Does it make sense to convert dollars? More often than not, right now it does. Obviously, everybody's situation is different, so you need to look over it. Don't just randomly go do things. But a couple other things, that makes a difference. When sometimes I've seen it happen before, whereas if you set up some sort of a plan tax-wise, right, and you start paying some of those taxes early, okay, Your income's going to be high, artificially high, right? And that's going to make your Social Security taxable. Okay, if you're taking Social Security already, but you might get through that to where you can get to a spot in life where your Social Security is not taxed at all.
Could potentially we can get you to a zero tax rate later,
Yeah,
depending on your situation. Zero's good.
zero's good. If you have too much pension, though, you're probably always going to pay some tax.
Probably so.
Paying taxes isn't always bad, though. That just means you made a little bit of money.
That's why I tell people all the time that if you're paying taxes, it means you made money.
Yeah. Okay. How about let's talk about. Let's talk. I always like to talk about when it comes to taxes. It's important where you place your money, right? And the reason for that is dollars in an IRA. You got to pay taxes on still. Okay. Dollars in a Roth, you don't. Okay. Dollars in like a brokerage account or an individual account, that's capital gains. So if you think about it, when you're building out a plan, not just a tax plan, let's take it a step further. Let's talk about risk. Okay. If I'm going to have some dollars that are safe, because you don't want all your dollars at risk, and I'm going to have some dollars that are a little more at risk, it also makes sense to where you position those dollars, right? If I'm going to have dollars at risk, I want those in my Roth.
I agree.
Because the chance that we get some big growth, it might as well be tax-free.
100%. Yeah.
Right? And if we're gonna try to be conservative with something with a lot of times means a little less rate of return, why don't we do that with the bucket that we haven't paid
use
taxes
your IRA
on
or
yet?
401k for those kind of things. Yeah.
Annuities, if we get off the IRA bandwagon for a minute, we just talk individual or joint account when they're in an annuity. People take dollars out of there, they're going to have to pay taxes as normal income.
On the gain only.
On the gain only, yep. And if it's in a brokerage account, just in the stock market or something like that, they're going to have to pay capital gains tax, which could or could not be more or less than normal income. But when those dollars pass on, beneficiaries get a step up in basis.
Correct.
Okay. If you leave those annuities to the kids, they don't get a step up in basis.
That's
right?
That's 100% right.
And so this whole tax planning thing is important.
It's important for the person listening to know what is the purpose of your money.
Yeah.
If it's for you to spend in your lifetime, that's one specific plan.
Yep.
If it's you to leave it to somebody else, that's a different specific plan. If it's you, like most folks go, I don't know, I want plenty if I'm alive, but I want to be able to leave something for my kids, there's a blended plan. So yes, depending on what you want those dollars to do will depend on the tool that we recommend to you to use.
Sure. What else on tax planning opportunities? Anything right now?
Yeah, do it. Do it yesterday. When's the best time to make a good financial plan? Yesterday? Well, yesterday's gone, so when's the next best time? Get it done right now. Things are going to change.
Okay.
We talked briefly, I think at the close of the last show, we talked about the student loan stimulus or forgiveness or whatever they labeled it as. And folks, listen, that is not free money. That is going to have to be paid for by somebody. When you start writing $500 billion checks, there's going to be a transfer of taxation to somebody, and that somebody's going to be the you and me's of the world. So if you got Social Security, you've got an IRA, you got some pension stuff, and you've got some dollars that have yet to be taxed, you might want to strongly consider taking a look at having a tax plan in place because there's a lot of stimulus money being thrown around that somebody's got to pay for.
So my son told me a joke.
Okay.
And it might blend into tax planning.
Okay.
If you're a doomsdayer, right? Okay.
Which I'm not.
If you're one of those people that hides your money, and you don't want anybody to know about it.
Yeah.
You ready? Where do frogs deposit their money?
Where do frogs deposit their money?
Yeah.
You got to think of something along the lines of ribbit or croak. Yeah, I don't know. You got me.
A riverbank.
A riverbank. That's good. Your son told you that.
So if you want to, hide your money from the government, you just go put it in a riverbank.
Riverbank. I own part of a river. There's no money buried in my
That's a
river. Don't even
terrible
go down there
joke.
and start looking. There's none down there. That's a good joke.
All right, tax planning. So you can go to our website, retire with 210. I'm all over the
I don't know
place.
where you're going here.
Retirewith210.com, and there's some different information on are you paying too much in taxes, things like that. Okay?
Yep.
You ready for This Week in History?
I am. I missed the last couple of them. I have not been good guessing lately.
I don't have any real fun stuff this week. 1954, the first issue of Sports Illustrated was released.
Oh, wow.
45 years. Oh, here we go. You'll enjoy this one. 70s. Well, not enjoy it. you like music, so this will make sense to you. I think I should stop doing this. You could take it. 1977, Elvis Presley died.
You know, all right, a serious Elvis
I
story.
told you you'd like
I
it.
remember the day.
Do you really?
I was walking into a restaurant
I wasn't alive yet.
in Michigan as a little boy, and my aunt, this is for those of you who are older than me, old as me, or older than me, you'll remember this. My aunt stopped at the newspaper stand, saw that Elvis had died, and she wept. People were everywhere crying. That's how big of an impact that man had musically.
I don't think there's any singer out there today that I would cry over.
Kendall, you aren't going to cry when I'm dead. That's how you are.
That is not true. I am known for not having a heart, but I would maybe shed a tear.
You
if
wouldn't
passed
cry
away.
over Elvis? I mean, ain't nothing but a hound dog, baby.
Now everybody knows how heartless I am.
I remember the day Elvis died.
Okay.
I watched my aunt weep, and I thought that was something different. It was something special.
Wow. All right. Well, on that note, now that we know Kendall's heartless, we'll see you next week, folks.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.